Hello, would like to talk about the uh, population structure first, and then for the population, what is population? Which is talking about the total number of the people living in a place. Okay, it can be talking about the is highly affected by the birth rate, death rate, and also by the immigrant and also immigrant rates. Okay, for the whole population in the world, there's about 8 millions for China and also India. They are almost 1.4 million. Fun fact, which is talking about for the April right now is the March of the 223, but indeed in the 223 April, then the in terms of statistic, no one knows exactly China and India have how many people. In terms of statistic, only the projection, the India will have more population than China in the April of 2023, which is very historical milestone for the first of the for the very first time that India becoming the largest populations, the country with the largest population in the world. Okay, then if we wanted to analyze the population structure of a country, we may use the population pyramid. Okay, then maybe we are using age and gender to analyze the population right there. Okay, first of all, the on the top, then it will be the elderly, and the middle it will be the working population. Okay, and also the elderly along with the lowest part, bottom part, which is the children. We will call this as the uh, dependent population, okay, which is relying on the working population to fit in, okay, to raise them. Okay, so in terms of age, we usually divide. I've talked about this before. Okay, working population then is economic or active. Then this is also reflecting that how much labor is in the country. Okay, if the labor is too few, then we are having a lack of working population situation, and then if it's too many, then it reflects the economy of that country is good because they can provide more labor. But how about the dependent population? If there are too few, then this is having a situation of decreasing of supply labor force later in a later stage. Then also if there are too many dependents, then it will become a financial burden of the society because we need to pay a lot for in education and also in the medical service to helping those dependent population, no matter children or elderly, they need a lot of medical support. Okay, then sex ratio is also another important point to talk about. Okay, we are having male and female for sure. Then, but the imbalanced sex ratio may adversely affect the population growth. For example, when the male population is much larger than the female population, just like China, it will be difficult for men to find a wives and start their families. Okay, then how to draw a population pyramid, and right here, I would like to skip this, and then yeah, because it's just about, oh, you are putting the percentage to here. Okay, then LDC and MDC, what are the difference between LDC and MDC? LDC is having a large population of children, okay, because their birth rate is large, and then it may provide a large labor force in the future. The population is youngful and expanding, just like India, okay. But how about MDC? Just like Japan, and we are having large proportion of the elderly, and then there will be a smaller labor force and aging population occur. Then the population may shrink in the future. Okay, then you can see that as the test you have told you about, just like Nigeria as an LDC is wider for the base, then because of the high birth rate and then also expanding population. How about the top is is narrower? Sorry for this, this is wrong. Okay, it is shorter life expectancy. The shape is triangular, okay, just like a pyramid right here. And then yeah, the the higher death rate and also the young population is the major population in the Nigeria. Okay, how about Germany? Germany is narrower, right? Narrower for the base. Okay, they have lower birth rate, shrinking population, while the longer life expectancy, while the top. Okay, and for the shape, it's rectangular, lower birth rate and also aging population, just like Japan. Okay, then you can find out, oh, this is the general situation between the India or Japan. Okay, Japan comes again, which is level-based, decreasing birth rate, and then negative population growth, or even very slow population growth, shrinking population, decreasing population. Okay, Y top and where we change upwards from the each age group, which is talking about the low death rate, and Y top means the people have a longer life expectancy and aging population is occurring. And then for the India, we are having a wide base with the high birth rate, rapid population growth, expanding population, sharp decrease upward from one age group to another means a high birth rate, death rate. A narrow tops means the a small number of the elderly, then the life expectancy is shorter. Okay, then this one I'm not going to go through with you, uh, and then here's the answer of the MC. Okay, come on, know it. Number one is B because the death rate is not high for this kind of period model states. This is a rectangular shape and this is mostly an MDC. Okay, then it is not really going to happen. And how do we learn from a population pyramid? Sex ratio, birth rate, dependency ratio, we can see both of them. Okay, then elderly, adult, children, then yeah. In parents sex ratio, working population is larger than the dependent population. Yeah, children and the elderly population, which is talking about. So let's us move to page 9 the unit 9.2. Okay, 9.2 is talking about how the population change. Okay, lateral increase, which is birth minus death, and then birth rate, which is number of the birth over total population, and then times 1,000, and which is one indeed per mil. Okay, this is per mil. You can see right here, I've told you about this, which is 1 to 1,000. Death rate and number of deaths over total population, and times 1,000 per mil, and then the rate of lateral increase include to birth rate minus death rate. Okay, birth rate when the birth rate is larger than the death rate, the population increase occurred, then the expand population is taking place. Okay, when the birth rate equals to the death rate, the population remain unchanged. And then for the death rate larger than the birth rate, then the population decrease, shrinking population taking place. Lateral increase plus the net migration. Okay, lateral increase refers to the birth minus death, and then the lateral migration refers to the immigrants to minus the emigrants. Then it will have the population change. Okay, lateral increase is talking about the differences between the birth and death over a period in a population. Okay, when people move into a country from another country, the immigration occur. Then they are talking about is the immigrant. Okay, just like the expats in Hong Kong, we always talking about, oh, expat, you are expat. Oh, maybe the people from the UK and US moving to Hong Kong, then we will call as immigrant. Okay, but some of us is leaving Hong Kong and move to another places, just like Canada or UK. Then this is the immigrant, which is talking about they are moving out. Okay, then once the immigrant minus the immigrant, it is the net migration, and then the population of the place is affected by the lateral increase as well as the net migration. Then the lateral increase will be negative if the number of death birth is less than the number of death. Okay, and it is a lateral decrease. Okay, what are the factors affecting the population growth? Each may include the food and water supply. Okay, then when we are having a lot of water and having a lot of food, then it is the basic human needs. More food, more water, then is having larger basic supply to the people right there. If there are not enough this kind of basic supply, the LDC, the people in the LDC may suffer from the food shortage or even famine. Okay, death rates are high. Healthcare and sanitation. Okay, then healthcare and sanitation, it can help the people to live longer. Okay, if you just living in a very dirty place, then you may get easily infected by the germs, so on and so forth. And you may easily get sick, and then your life will be in your life is endangered. Okay, so the life expectancy of that place will be reduced. Many MDC, maybe you have learned in LE lesson, and some of the area in LDC doesn't have a toilet or even the sanitation facilities. Then their death rates have a high and the life expectancy are low. Okay, then status of the women. The status of women also affect the opportunity to receive education and the choice of giving birth. Okay, for example, MDC, they are having higher education standard, more job opportunities. They may be having late marriage. Okay, just like Hong Kong, maybe. Oh, some of my friends, Mr. Leung is already 40 years older. Then some of my friends is also 40 years older. They are just giving birth their first child. Okay, so why? Because they get marriage in a very late time, and then they're not going to give birth baby. Okay, or even they are giving birth in a very old age, just like 40 years old. Okay, don't ask Mr. Leung is going to marry or not. Major demerit. This I will give you a major demerit. Okay. Then we are because of this, then we are having fewer number of students. Okay. How about LDC? LDC having a lower education standard. Then for the women, they are having fewer job opportunities, and then they are getting married earlier, then they are having lack of family planning, they are having more children. Okay, how about the cultural values? Okay, the cultural value, especially in Asia and Africa. Okay, let's think about how we are going to celebrate and bless the new married couple. Oh, 3年抱兩. Oh, having 2 child within 3 years. Okay, this is they may have large families with many children. Is a symbol of blessing. Okay, then moreover, many people hope to get support from the children and 養兒防老啊嘛. Okay, we are having a Chinese idiom talking about, oh, we raise the kid and then we have a safer and more secured elderly age. Okay, then when they grow old, birth rate are first high. Okay, economic factors, cost of raising a child is also a large problem, and because in the MDC, the cost of raising a child is high, and then the spending is lead for the housing and food and education. Then many people prefer to have their fewer children in order to reduce their financial burden. Okay, and also the raising of the children is less costly in LDC than maybe because they are just depends on farming. If they are having enough food, that it will be okay already. Then people often have more children to increase their labor force for farm work and income. So LDC may have more children, and then MDC may have fewer children in that sense. Okay, how about the government policy? Okay, the LDC may be also MDC may have more social benefit if you're going to give birth for a child. For example, the tax allowance and also paid maternity leave. Okay, which is talking about the 產假. Okay, just like, oh, maybe you have found some teachers is going to have a maternity leave for 10 weeks, and then you're gonna miss her. Okay, then this is also already, they will get paid. Okay, all the way. Then this is the paid maternity leave. Okay, because oh, if the women cannot get paid when they are going to give birth a baby, and it will really become devastating, and then they are not willing to give birth to a child anymore. Okay, so paid maternity leave is quite important. Okay, and then for the lower birth rates, and it can promote family planning and then birth control to slow down the population growth. Okay, because just like Hong Kong previously, we are talking about, oh, we are having a lot of brother and sister. When you are if your grandma or grandpa is 60 born on 60 60 decades. Okay, then they are having a lot of children. But right now, maybe we are the only child, or we are just having 1 or 2 brothers or sister. Then family planning is important. Okay, birth control can slow down the population growth as well. Okay, increase of the number of the immigrant, relaxing the immigration rule to attract the overseas professionals, and then it can increase the labor force. Okay, just like Hong Kong nowadays, some of the special professionals, they can be allowed to work in Hong Kong for the foreigners. Okay, then they can work in Hong Kong just like doctors or dentists, so on and so forth, by passing through some special requirement, they can work in Hong Kong. Okay, even though they are not Hong Kong, studying in Hong Kong, then this is a kind of relaxation of the immigration rule. Okay, then how about the reducing the number of the immigrants and tighten the immigration rules, just like setting up the household registration system? It may limit the number of the immigrants. Okay, then, for example, China also having this case of situation. Okay, we are having household registration system all the way in China. Then, if you doesn't have a household, then you are not allowed to have the education or medical service, very expensive fund education or medical service. Then it is going to limit the number of the immigrant. Okay, how about the wars? The wars may definitely kill a lot of people, and then the death rate increase, and then the birth rate decrease. The total population is greatly reduced after the right after the wars. But after the wars for 1 or 2 years, the birth rate may often rise and the baby boom may appear. Okay, then what are the change of the population change in China? First of all, in the early 50 decades, birth rate larger than the death rate. Why? Because it's just right after the war. Okay, then the baby boom take place right there, and then high birth rate, high death rate, and then the natural increase is high. Okay, the economy and the society becomes stable, so the birth rate is having a baby boom right there, and then because also the death rate is declining because increasing food supply and also better services. The population will grow rapidly as a result. How about in the 50 decades to 60 decades, the death rate sadly is larger than the birth rate, and higher birth rate and higher death rate still, natural decrease taking place. Okay, because there's a famine right on the 50 decades. Okay, it caused a drastic increase in death rates and then a decrease of birth rate. This leads to the negative population growth. Okay, and then for the 60 decades, birth rate larger than death rate, and then because of the low death rate, because of the medical service advancement, and then the lateral decrease is still the lateral increase is still taking place. After the economy recovered after the famine, a baby boom. This is lateral increase, not decrease. Okay, a baby boom appear and the birth rate soared to 40 per mil. Okay, how about in 70 decades? The birth rate is also higher than the death rate. Then the low birth rate and low death rate, lateral decrease has decreased and natural birth rate, okay, have decreased and become stable since 2000. Okay, the rapid population growth brought many social and economic problems and is having a very booming population right there. Okay, right here. Okay, then because of this, you can see if this kind of situation is not going to deal with, and then the population will be booming afterwards. Okay, maybe we are having 2 millions of people already. Okay, then we will have introduced the one-child policy in 1979. Okay, the birth rate fell but remain higher than 15 per mils. Okay, and the China having a strict policy on regulating the migration of people. The number of immigrant and immigrant is very small compared with the population change to the lateral increase. Therefore, the lateral increase in is the major reason for the population change in China. So previously, we are having a lot of increase. Okay, lateral increase is so strong, but afterwards the decrease taking place, then we are having a declining population in the future. Okay, then this is for the unit 2 and then unit 3. Okay, unit 3 always a long topic. Okay, then first of all, I would like to introduce the carrying capacity to you. Okay, what is carrying capacity? Which is talking about the upper limit of the population that a place can support, just like the land, just like the water that can feed the people or let the people drink. And if the population lower than the carrying capacity, okay lah, no problem lah. If the population larger than the carrying capacity, it will be a problem. The overpopulation occur because we don't have enough resource to support a large population, just like the land, just like the water. Okay, then the natural resource in China is okay in general. We have abundant, which is enough natural resource, sharing 70% of the land and then also 6% of the fresh water. 7%. I don't know whether I say 70% previously. Okay, then the 20% of, but we are having 20% of the population, global population, and then the resource per capita are far below the world average. Then China was a lot overpopulated in the past, and particularly in the late 1970s. Okay, then maybe you can suggest, oh, what are the problem of the overpopulation, which may include the resource depletion in general. We keep, because huge population means we have to utilize the resource rapidly, continuously. Okay, for example, deforestation, overgrazing, overcultivation, and the overuse of the water resource have been rising, and then it is going to further reduce the carrying capacity of the land. Okay, environmental pollution, it may pollute the air, pollute the water, pollute the land. Okay, and it is going to provide a lot of greenhouse gas and air pollutants. Okay, huge amount of the sewage and solid waste, which will causing the environmental degradation, which is making the environment becoming poorer. Okay, then how about socio-economic problem? Unstable food supply, which may include the food security, is quite a big challenge in China nowadays. Okay, the self-sufficiency rate, okay, for the food is declining. Okay, we may need to import more food, just like the wheat in China is somehow still need import from other countries. Okay, then if we cannot make the food in a self-sufficient way, then we are going to have troubles, because the food can be the price of the food can be manipulated by other countries easily. So our food supply, our hunger may occur if we really cannot pay the price, although we can. So as the global food price rise, and then the China may suffer in a food shortage, a food crisis may even occur. Okay, hopefully it won't occur, because China still have a lot of money to buy the food. Okay, shortage of housing and infrastructure, and just like Hong Kong nowadays, many big cities face the problem, just like the overcrowding. We list several years, or 10 years, or 20 years for the single guy to wait until the public housing allocation. Okay, then it's also having a lot of traffic congestion and lack of infrastructure. And it is also provide a great burden to the housing, transport service, and also community facilities, just like the school and hospital for the government. Okay, poverty is also another problem, and then the demand of the job is high in the overpopulated area, but is not really having enough job opportunities to settle the need of the jobs. That will lead to the poverty and increase of the crime rate. Okay, and what have China done to ease the problem of the overpopulation? Okay, first of all, controlling the population growth. For example, the one-child policy adopted in 1979, they may receive a penalty, or if they are going to have more than one child for the couples. Okay, then the birth rate is reduced and the population growth have been slowed down. Then the benefit may include controlling the resource depletion and relieving the government burdens. Okay, how about the improving productivity? It may raise the food production, and for example, we can improving the rural infrastructure and promoting the scientific farming method. Okay, just like the hybrid rice. Okay, and also we can increase the energy supply. For example, we can farm more oil and natural gas to increase the import the oil and natural gas to increase the energy supply, or maybe we can find out different kinds of energy resource, just like the hydroelectric power and then also the wind power, and enhancing the economic strength, and which may include the capital and technology, can boost the economic development. And then it can meanwhile, if the economy is better, then the tax income of the government can also be increased. Okay, how about the one-child policy? Is it really effective? Yes. Okay, because it is going to reduce a lot of growth rate of the China population. Okay, but it can also induce some of the social problem. Okay, for example, the gender imbalance. First of all, the problem may include then a lot of baby girls was aborted and then abandoned under the one-child policy. This is going to be reduced a great amount of the female population, and also the gap between the male and the female population is even getting larger. Many men of marriageable age are not able to find a wife, which may cause a birth rate reduce further. Aging population, because we are having a lot of one child, but their father and mother is still is in a very large population group. Then the aging of the population is a major concern of the China right now because of the declining birth rate. The share of elderly population is expected to increase from 10% in 2017 to 30% in 2060. So it's a very important figure. The burden of the working population and the government will become higher. Okay, the rising of the dependency ratio. Only children have low siblings have shared the cost of the of supporting their parents. Just like maybe one girls they have to find the jobs and raise her father and mother, and also her grandmother and grandfather from the father side, and also maybe the grandfather and the grandmother. Wait a minute, grandfather and the grandmother of her mother side. Okay, then the children right now may be having a later on when they grows up, they may have extra burdens. Okay, because they have to taking care of 5 dependents. Okay, increase in government spending, which may include the aging population, cause a decline in working population, hence reducing the productivity. Many elderly have to rely on the government aid, and their children fail to support them. Public health spending on the elderly support is also important. Okay, so this is the video notes of the one-child policy, and then what are the advantage of the large population, which may include the large workforce to help the economic growth, and then helping them out of the poverty, and then allow to China to build a largest education system. Then what are the problem having a big population? Then there are great pressure to the resource. And 2015 is the years that China have introduced two-child policy. Okay, then previously, what is the condition of the situation before the one-child policy is implemented, and it is having 6 children among a typical family. Okay, then it is having a great threat. Then it is not going to improve the living standard, and then they have introduced the birth control, and then they are having a average of 3 children afterwards. Then the population is still high. Then they gonna start the one-child policy in 1980. Okay, so this is the effective points, and then also the not effective points in the video notes that you can have a look, because I have just talked about this in here. Okay, I'm not really going into detail for here. Okay, then for here, then this is the end of the unit 3 and also the population chapter. Okay, then I will take a farming chapter later on. See you.